Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Let us resume our discussion on Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual discourses with the Brahmo devotees at their festival in the beautifully decorated garden house of Sri Beni Madhav Pal in the Sthiti area of North Kolkata on Sunday, the 19th of October 1884, on the day after the Kali Puja of that year. We have also completed our Kali Puja and Diwali in the meantime, and this is the first interaction after that occasion, so it matches with the date of this interaction. We have been discussing the discourses of this date since a long time, and we will have to recapitulate what we discussed last, which was as early on 16th of October last month, because the last two occasions we did not meet. On 23rd I was out in Belun Math for the heads conference, and last Sunday we had the Deepavali, while our Kali Puja was held on 29th of October. Here it is very interesting that the topic of Kali came in the conversation, and how it came is also interesting. We have discussed that Sri Ramakrishna had a very, very interesting discourse in that congregation, and everybody was charmed. Now when the time for their regular program came, then it was the turn of Bijoy Krishna Goswami to present a discourse. But Bijoy Krishna Goswami objected. He said, we do discussions, we have the discourses in order to orient our mind towards God. But the discourse of Sri Ramakrishna has already oriented our mind. There is nothing more to do. But the organizers felt that the schedule has to be followed, so Bijoy Krishna Goswami was requested. Secondly, Bijoy Krishna Goswami protested that in presence of Sri Ramakrishna, how can he speak? He is much behind the spiritual brilliance of Sri Ramakrishna. Moreover, these discourses in his presence only will exhibit his pride. So he objected. But then he asked Sri Ramakrishna, what should I do? Now Sri Ramakrishna says, it is true that when a person gives a lecture, presents a discourse, there is every possibility of his ego being inflated. Because the moment a person gives a lecture, he feels that I am a superior being. I am teaching others. I know more than them. They are ignorant and I am wise. So these sort of discriminatory ideas only inflate our false ego. Ego is of two kinds. Ahankar, Ami, मैं हूँ, मैं Mayapan. So ego is of two kinds. Sri Ramakrishna is to say, one is ripe ego, another is unripe ego. Ego must be there, because I cannot deny myself. My existence centers around my ego consciousness. That is important. If the ego consciousness goes, then I become non-existent. Who is existing? I exist. But what is my nature? What we know about this I, that has to be properly understood. So Sri Ramakrishna says, when we get identified with this body and mind, I think this is me and nothing beyond. That is unripe ego, kachami. And when I identify myself with the divine, with the unlimited, then that is pakkami, the ripe ego. The journey of human beings is to travel from this level of unripe ego to the level of ripe ego. We all have ego consciousness, but what are we aspiring for? We are aspiring to shed our unripe ego and get identified with our ripe ego. That is the sadhana, that is the spiritual quest. Until that is achieved, we have to move on, we have to proceed. A journey from unripe ego to ripe ego, from kachami to pakkami. Now Sri Ramakrishna says, whatever activities inflate our unripe ego, takes us away from our goal, because we want to eliminate unripe ego and get identified with ripe ego. See, if by giving lecture or giving a leadership generates my unripe ego, ahankar buddhi, then that is counterproductive. In this train, Bijoy Krishna Goswami was unwilling. Then Sri Ramakrishna later on said that now there is a program here and you are scheduled to speak. To speak being an instrument in the hands of God. Do not have that notion that you are teaching others. You share your devotion, your thought of God with others, and leave it the rest to Him. Now while doing the prayer, Bijoy Krishna Goswami, he became very much emotional and he went on praying to the divine as the mother. And in such a deep emotion, he prayed to the mother. Then everybody got overwhelmed. With the getting permission from Sri Ramakrishna, he went to the pulpit and started his discourse. विजय विनय पूर्वक आप कहें तो मैं वेदी पर बैठ सकता हूँ. श्री रामकृष्ण हंसते हुए, मैं क्या कहूँ, तुम ही ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करो. जैसे चंदा मामा सभी की मामा है, वैसे वे भी सभी के है. अगर आंतरिकता होगी तो भय की बात नहीं है. वेदी पर बैठकर विजय ब्राह्म समाज की पद्धति के अनुसार उपासना करने लगे. This is important because Sri Ramakrishna has done a wonderful reconciliation of our philosophical thoughts. Now there is a traditional way of prayer for the Brahmos. So Bijoy was following that. तो वेदी पर बैठकर विजय ब्रह्म समाज की पद्धति के अनुसार उपासना करने लगे। प्रार्थना के समय विजय मामा कहकर पुकार रहे हैं। सुनकर सब लोग द्रवीभूत हो गए। दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट। বিজয় প্রার্থনার সময় মামা করিয়া ডাকিতেছেন, সকলেরই মন দ্রবীভূত হইল। ইজ দ্য বেঙ্গলি। Bijoy sat on the platform and conducted the worship according to the rules of Brahmo Samaj. At the time for prayer, he repeatedly called on the mother, touching the hearts of all. Now, what is the Brahmo Samaj way of worship? You have to understand the history of our country at that time. We had a traditional way of worship as per the local customs of Hindu, Muslim and all other existing religions of the East. But at that time, India was a subject of British Empire, and they wanted to promote Christianity among their subject countries. So there is a great upheaval of Christianity in that time. So you have to understand what is the difference between Christianity and Hinduism. It's a way of the worship, way of the philosophy, way of seeing God in different forms. According to the Christian tradition, there is again difference between Protestants and Catholics, but in general, they accept God as a principle without form, nirakar. They don't accept that God has a form. They think that God is infinity, without form, formless. Nevertheless, God has some qualities. Formless God with some qualities like compassion, love, forgiveness. Many good qualities God has. Now how a formless God is having qualities, that is debatable. But that's what their philosophy goes. We cannot deny that God is very kind. Everybody, it appeals to our heart. We all know intrinsically that God is kind, God is sympathetic. He's created us. He is full of love. At the same time, God cannot be limited. It is unlimited, without any bounds. Now, if God is unlimited, infinity, then how can He have a form? So this is a logical conclusion that God must be without any particular form. Because if you restrict God to a form, then the God's powers become limited. God is unlimited. That also appeals to us. So, nevertheless, God has some qualities. So this is the tradition. And they normally think that God is the Father. As Father has been this protection, Father creates. Father has created us, so similarly God has created this world, He has created the beings, etc. He is our Father. And He has many benign qualities. Nevertheless, He doesn't have any form. Now, Brahmo Samaj was created in India to make a bridge between Hinduism and Christianity. So the ideas, because Christianity was so popular in those days, because they started propaganda that if God is infinity, then the Hindu belief of restricting God in a particular image is bogus. That God is present in a form of Devi, Shiva, Kali, Durga, Ganesha, one particular form. We think that is God itself. He said, how is it? This is called idol worship, murti puja. They make a big agitation that this murti puja is bogus. How God can be restricted to a form? So these are the contrast and conflict of ideas. So naturally the educated class, the influential class, the acolytes of the country, they became more and more attracted towards Christian theology, because that appeals that God cannot be concentrated and limited to a particular form, because He is infinity. So in this scenario, many people started becoming Christians. So Brahmo Samaj was created by Raja Ram Mohan Roy as an obstacle, as a barrier, as a dam to check this conversion. So he created this Brahmo Samaj where you don't have to become Christian, you remain where you are, because Brahmo Samaj also used to consider that God is without form, Nirakar. So that matches. So those who want to worship God without form, they need not become Christians, they can enroll themselves as Brahmos and follow the discipline. So this is number one. Secondly, since God is not considered with the form, so this ritual worship is no more necessary. In Christianity there is no ritual worship, puja etc. Not in the way we do. Though the Roman Catholics have various ways of worship, so anyway, in general, especially the Protestants, they have nothing to do with the formal worship. Murti puja. And idol worship goes without, there is no scope for idol worship, there is no scope for this puja or ritual with a formless God. So Brahmos also did not have any scope for puja. Now, nevertheless, they had the prayers, prarthana. As the Christians also have prarthana, prayers, they have carols also, that psalms also. You can have bhajans, you can sing the praises of God, you can pray to Him. Prayer is a very powerful tool in Christianity. So the Brahmas retained this system of prayer, abolished this idol worship, and thought that and proclaimed that God is formless. So they were having this belief, and they were having a group which was gaining ground, and several influential people of the country in those days became Brahmos. So seeing that, many people started joining the Brahmo groups. When it started by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, then later on this Maharishi Devendranath Thakur, the father of Rabindranath Thakur, even Rabindranath Thakur himself, they were Brahmos. Keshav Chandra Sen, Bijoy Krishna Goswami, Shivanath Shastri, they are stalwarts of the city, of the country. They appealed to their philosophy, to their mind, so they were Brahmo devotees. And the Brahmo devotees, Brahmos, their rules, they made that once you are a Brahmo, then you cannot have idol worship. You are not supposed to visit any temple and make puja, because you are now Brahmos, converted. So now, it's very interesting that this Brahmo philosophy became so popular, so powerful, that the young people of the country, they all started becoming Brahmos, including Swami Vivekananda, who was then Narendranath, and Swami Brahmananda, who was Rakhal Chandra Ghosh, the first president of the order, and Swami Vivekananda, they were Brahmos, along with many others. So they were very much convinced about this idea. It is very appealing to reason. Now in this scenario, Sri Ramakrishna appears, and he is coming and attending a Brahmo congregation festival. Now the matching factor of Sri Ramakrishna's way of worship, and Brahmos were bhajans. They were also singing glory of God. So Sri Ramakrishna sang the glory of God. And that was very appealing. And then Sri Ramakrishna was explaining what is the nature of God and others. Now it's very interesting that this Bijoy Krishna Goswami, while praying to a formless God, addressed that formless God as mother. And that appealed everybody. Because there's a general, intrinsic appeal, natural appeal. So everybody appreciated. Now Bijoy Krishna Goswami, after the congregation, comes to Sri Ramakrishna with this question. Now first of all, Sri Ramakrishna appreciated him. He said, from the pulpit, from the Vedi platform, you were praying the God, addressing him as the mother. It was very appealing. He appreciated. তুমি তাকে মামা বলে প্রার্থনা করছিলে, এ খুব ভালো। First, you prayed to God, addressing him, because God is considered as a male person, father. Though a person who do not have form can neither be, doesn't have a gender. A formless entity cannot have a gender. But normally God is thought as a male person. God is, and also in the Christianity, Mother Mary is also considered as a manifestation of the God. So here the Brahmos had a system of considering God as a father. He says, you prayed to God addressing him as mother, that is very good. First he gives a certificate. ये and why, ये जानना जरूरी है. तुमने उनसे मामा कहकर प्रार्थना की थी, यह बहुत अच्छा है. It's very important for our spiritual life. That what should be our relation with God. We are trying to realize God, but we must know with whom we are trying to interact. What is his nature? What is his sex? How does he look like? He does a form or formless. But first of all, Sri Ramakrishna appreciated that if we pray to God addressing him as mother, then that is very good, that is congenial, that is recommended, and that is appealing to our heart. So now the comparison is made between the father worship and mother worship. First this comparison Sri Ramakrishna made. That if we worship God as father and if we worship God as mother, which is better? Sri Ramakrishna says that mother worship is better. This is how he enters into their field of reasoning. And his reasoning is as follows. People say that mother's attachment to the child is stronger than the father's. One stroke, it bolts out. Nobody can deny our attachment to the mother. It doesn't need any reasoning. It's spontaneous. Everybody will accept that our love to the mother and mother's love to the child is supreme. Nothing can be compared. So now if this relation is replicated with God, then we develop a spontaneous intimacy to God. So far God is very far. He is sitting above the cloud. He is a punishing father. If you imagine that God is no more a punishing father, he is neither a dictator, nor a policeman, nor a judge. It is considered that God is a judge at the end of the day. The day of salvation, he will call everyone from as this is a Christian tradition. God is the ultimate judge. And on the last day of the world, when the world will be annihilated, dissolved, then everyone will be called from the grave and his accounts will be cleared. and he will judge your deeds, good or bad, and if you have done good deeds, you will be rewarded. If you have done bad deeds, you will be punished. So God is considered as a punishing father, judging our activities and rewarding or punishing accordingly. Here Sri Ramakrishna says, on the other hand, if you imagine God not as a punishing father but as a loving mother, then what happens? The person remains same, child remains same, but the attitude differs. A father's attitude and mother's attitude are heaven and hell different. Mother can never have a punishing attitude. Even if a child has done hundreds of wrong things, mother will forgive. That is the nature of the mother. And that he reproduces here. Mother's attachment to the child is stronger than father. A son can force his demand on his mother, but not on his father. This is the difference. पिताजी के पास आप जोर नहीं कर सकते हो, माताजी के पास कर सकते हो. So this is how Sri Ramakrishna teaches us how to establish our relation with God and get the best, most benefit out of Him, just by this thought orientation. तुमने उनसे मामा कहकर प्रार्थना की थी, वो बहुत अच्छा है. कहावत है, माँ की चाह बाप से अधिक होती है. Cannot be denied. माँ पर अपना बस है, बाप पर नहीं. Now he gives an example. Now there was a Trilokyonath. Either there is a person, now Trilokyonath Sanyal, now he had inherited a big estate. Now he lost his father by them, and his mother was the owner of a huge estate. So a lot of money was being carried by cartloads from the estate to be deposited to the mother of Trilokya with some security guards. Now Trilokya intervened. He was not a very good person, so he intervened and he looted that wealth, fighting with the guards. So naturally, the guards were in a fix, because this is the son of the owner. He is not a thief, but he is misbehaving here. So what to do? They could not definitely fight with him. So they yielded, but they went and made a complaint to the owner, the mother of Trilokya. But what happened? The mother condoned Trilokya, did not punish. Why? Because he is her dear child. Sri Ramakrishna mentions this incident to stamp upon our mind that our relation with the mother is very intimate, and that should be replicated when we establish our relation with God, to be close with Him in a very short time. Once, cartloads of money were coming from the estate of Trilokya's mother. They were guarded by many red-turbaned stalwarts armed with big sticks, protected. Trilokya, who had been waiting on the road with his men, pounced upon the money and took it away by force, looted. The son has a very strong claim on his mother's wealth. People say that a mother cannot very well sue her son in a court of law. It is not possible for her because of her love. So, God should be worshipped not as a punishing father, but as a loving mother, and that way we can come quickly towards God. त्रैलोक्य की माँ की जमींदारी से गाड़ियों से रुपया लद कर आता था, हाथ में लाठियों लिए। कितने ही लाल पगड़ी वाले सिपाही साथ रहते थे। त्रैलोक्य रास्ते में आदमियों को लिए हुए खड़ा रहता था, जबरन सब रुपया ले लेता था। माँ की धन पर अपना पूरा जोर है, कहते हैं लड़के के नाम पर माँ की दावा भी नहीं होता है। So first idea Sri Ramakrishna gave, that if you want to worship God, please stick to your natural propensity. You are doing on your own. He did not tell Bijoy to go in the pulpit and call God as mother, because that was against the philosophy of Brahmas. Sri Ramakrishna does not jeopardize the faith and belief of anybody, but guides them from where he or she is. He did not teach to go, because he knows he is a mother worshipper through and through, but he didn't force his idea on Bijoy Krishna Goswami or the Brahmas. Let them do the prayer on their own. They on their own prayed to God as a mother, because that is the natural propensity of heart. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, since you are already praying to God as mother, it is not wrong. Continue. Rather, it is better for this reason. Because when you think of God as mother, you feel very close, you feel very intimate, you have a loving relation. Your spiritual journey will be smoother. So everybody accepted his idea. They thought that it is not wrong. When we are worshipping God as mother, it is good. So later on, in the Brahma tradition, the songs on mother were allowed. They were singing Shama Shangit, they were singing Bhajan Sabkali. So all sorts of bhajans were promulgated with their interaction with Sri Ramakrishna. This is the first change. Now comes the most important change, for which this section is very important. With this preamble, now Bijoy Krishna Goswami was a very, extraordinary preacher. He was not an ordinary man. He became a great guru. His later name was Jatiya Baba. He has an ashrama in Vrindavan. The great realized saint. Nobody could realize at that time. First of all, his heritage is from Advaita Vangsha, Advaita Acharya, who came with Sri Chaitanya, the great devotee, Advaita Acharya. In that clan, Bijoy Krishna Goswami was there. He was from that family. Now Advaita Acharya was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. So they are Vaishnavas. They worship God with form, as Sri Krishna, with form, clear. And Sri Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. There is no dichotomy. God is with form. They have the Vigraha in their ancestral home with Samasundar. Nice Vigraha is there. And it has been worshipped. But Bijoy Krishna Goswami did not believe. He would not go to the worship room, because he is a Brahmo. He would not believe. He didn't believe, but then his life story says that he did not believe Sri Krishna as a form. He said, I do not believe you. But Sri Krishna, taking a form, used to appear before Bijoy Krishna Goswami, because he was an exalted saint, extraordinary person. Even worshipping, even denying God with form, God used to come to him, because he is his devotee. But he would deny. There are a lot of stories of Bijoy Krishna Goswami. I take a departure and tell you. It's very interesting. It's in Bharatiya Sadak. Bijoy Krishna Goswami's grandmother was a great devotee. She was worshipping Sri Krishna as Samasundar in their ancestral home, and there is Bakaida, Bhog, Rag, sab kuch hai, puja, arti. Now, one day, this Samasundar appeared in the dream of Bijoy Krishna Goswami, and it complained that today that payasam what was given was very hot served. It should not be. Payasam should be given in a cold form. But hot milk is there. So my lips got burnt. That is the complaint he gave. So he says, Bijoy Krishna Goswami, you go and tell your grandmother that her worship was today faulty. She shouldn't have been done. It done a great wrong. They told her grandmother that your Shyamasundar is complaining. And the grandmother said, bogus, you do not believe in Shyamasundar, you are telling all this nonsense. I do not believe. Then Shyamasundar appeared again to Bijoy Krishna Goswami and said that you tell her to check my lips on that form. They went and checked in that form, it was burnt. They got surprised. So then they realized that this form is not only a model, this is a live being. Then later on, this Samasundar again appeared in his dream. Bijoy Krishna says that, you see Bijoy, I want to be decorated with a crown. It's all recorded in the books, in the life of Bijoy Krishna Goswami. I want to be decorated with a crown. मुझे मुकुट चाहिए होगी, सोने के मुकुट. Bijoy Krishna Goswami says, I do not believe you. You tell to your devotees, why are you bothering me? He said, no, you go and will request your grandmother that she has a lot of money, she can spend and make a nice crown for me. सोने का एक मुकुट बना दो, मुझे चाहिए होगी. Then he said, the ठाकुमा, तुम्हारा श्यामसुंदर मुकुट चाहिए ताकि करे दो. Then again she said, Are you no business, you do not believe him, and he had no one person to tell you. I won't do it. And where I get the money from? I am a poor widow and a devotee of God. Where will you get this so much money of making a crown of the Devata? You go away. Bijoy Krishna says that is not possible because the Thakuma doesn't have money. Then Shyamasundar says, she is telling a lie. In such and such corner of her chest, 800 rupees are stored in secret, and that is enough for making a crown in those days. You tell her to utilize that money which she has kept in her chest. Then Bijoy Krishna said, Thakuma, you have got so much money closed in the chest. Then he says, Shyamasundar could know. So then the crown was made. Now this comes the climax of the story. That crown was made and was put on the mandir. Then again in the roof when Bijoy Krishna was roaming, again Shyamasundar came. And he said, Bijoy, thank you, you have made the crown. Now won't you come and see how do I look? He said, you see, why are you bothering me? I do not believe God with form. I do not believe you. See, if you are looking good, that is good for your devotees. I have nothing to do with that. He said, no, once you come and see me in the temple, how am I looking? So he was forced, he was not believing him. You must come. Then Bijoy Krishna went to the temple of their own house, which he didn't visit. Went and saw the Samasundar beautifully decorated with his new golden crown. Now when he looked at him, he became dazed. Because there was intrinsic love hidden in his mind. He was a great devotee. He was pretending with this all formless aspect with the philosophy, but he was a great devotee nevertheless. That's why Bhagavan came to him. So when he saw at the image of Sri Krishna with his beautiful crown, then he was shedding tears. He could not stop. So much love came in his mind. Then he said that if you have so much of devotion and grace on me, then why didn't you tell me earlier? I am a devotee. Then Shyamasundar says, I know how to motivate my devotees in which way, how to guide them, how to develop them, how to evolve them. Everything takes time. So this is the Bijoy Krishna Goswami. He is not an ordinary man, and he is worshipping the God in his formless aspect. And because of his inherent devotion, he is calling God as mother. And then, when mother worship was accepted by the Brahmas, Bijoy Krishna asked the most crucial question. Abhi aaiye. Bijoy is asking that if Brahman is our mother, then has it any form or it is formless? Now Sri Ramakrishna says that God is Brahman, and he also has an aspect of mother. God can be called as a father or mother alike. But if you call God as a mother, it will be more congenial, more graceful. Question is, if God is our mother, then does it have a form or does it not have any form? Now mother, formless mother cannot be accepted. So there is a dichotomy, philosophy. How can God be mother on one side and without a form on other? This is anti-reason. Sri Ramakrishna has put the most crucial question. If you are saying that God is infinity, and also you are saying God is mother, then how does it match each other? This reconciliation was the crying need of that hour on the historical point. This reconciliation is the main point of difference. That if God is infinity, how can he be having a form? So God here, Sri Ramakrishna is saying God can be both form, with form and without form, simultaneously. How is it possible? That's what reconciliation was done by Sri Ramakrishna, and that is one of the greatest contribution to the spiritual history of this country, of the world. Now, first of all, we should understand, appreciate the depth of the question. The result will come later, solution will come later. Depth of the question. Brahma agar ma hai, to be sakar hai ya nirakar? Because the Brahmos do not allow sakar worship, the nirakar. In a nirakar worship form, how he can be worshipped as mother? Now Sri Ramakrishna कहते हैं, जो ब्रह्म है वही काली भी है. जब निष्क्रिय है तब उन्हें ब्रह्म कहते हैं. जब सृष्टि स्थिति प्रलय यह सब काम करते हैं तब उन्हें शक्ति कहते हैं. स्थिर जल से ब्रह्म की उपमा हो सकती है. पानी जब हिलता डुलता है तब वो शक्ति की काली की उपमा है. दिस इज द सॉल्यूशन. And then he has various explanations, but this is the one golden explanation. He says that which is Brahman is also Kali, the mother, the primal energy. When inactive, it is called Brahman. Again, when creating, preserving and destroying, it is called Shakti. Still water is an illustration of Brahman. The same water moving in waves may be compared to Shakti, Kali. Now, he says that the same principle, when viewed from different angles, becomes formless and with form. So he does not say that anybody is wrong, everybody is right. Formless aspect of God is also correct. But when he say, the difficulty is that when a person accepts the formless aspect of God, he believes that any other method is wrong. This is where we make mistake. When a person says Ishwar Nirakar, तब वो सोचते हैं ईश्वर साकार हो ही नहीं सकता है. This is the difficulty. Master Mahashaya aim when he met, he was also Brahmo, the recorder of the gospel. He was the chief, one of the very, very strong, ardent followers of Brahmas. So when he came to, all these people came from Brahmo Samaj to Sri Ramakrishna because Keshav Chandra Sen, the leader, they wrote in his, he used to run a paper, Indian Mirror. He used to write about Sri Ramakrishna, great saint. So he used to motivate people to go to Sri Ramakrishna. He was a liberal-minded man. So when Master Mahashaya went to Sri Ramakrishna, then Sri Ramakrishna asked him, you believe in God with form or God without form? He says, I believe in God without form. Sri Ramakrishna immediately said, go ahead. He did not say that you should follow Kali. He said, go ahead. You believe God in without form, that is fine. Then M asked one question, that if God can be without form, how can I be with form also? Should I not go to those who are wrongly worshipping God with form and correct them? This is where Sri Ramakrishna became extremely angry. He says, whatever you are following, you follow that and reach the goal. At this stage, do not have the audacity to dictate on others that what God is and what God is not, because you do not know yourself. That is the problem. We follow a path without reaching the goal, we quarrel with others. We have no right. Sri Ramakrishna says, whatever path is appealing to you, follow that. Reach the end first. And then look around and try to see what are the other paths. Then you will see that every other path is also equally valid. Nothing is wrong. But that can be told only when you have reached the goal. None of us have reached the goal. We are following one path, at the same time fighting, quarreling, shedding blood with others, that you are wrong, I am right. How do you know that you are right? Because you have not reached the goal and verified your philosophy either. We have no right to say that even my path is good or right or correct unless we reach the goal and verify. Sri Ramakrishna invites everybody in this quest for self-realization. Atma Sakshatkar lav karo, Ishwar darshan karo. You are traveling from sitting at different peripheries of the circle towards the center. He says, first take any route possible with any radius. You reach the center. When you reach the center, you will find all radii converge to the one center. God is one. His interpretations are many. Ekam sat vipra bahuda madanti. The goal, destination is one. There will be various ways. Sakar, Nirakar, etc. Now the reconciliation of Sakar and Nirakar, he says that the same principle, when it is steady, it is called Nirakar, Brahman, and when it is in action, it is called Sakar, Shakti, Kali. Then he says, gives an upama, this illustration, then the water is steady, there is nothing, so it becomes still. So you do not see anything. Still. But when it is wavy, same water is visible with action, with motion, with vision. Water is no different. Same water appears as still and appears as wavy. Antagonism, fighting, quarrel amongst others. Everybody is following the same path, same goal. Paths are different depending on our temperament. Now, further he will explain that till when we will have to change the formless, the form, God with form, and when we can switch over to God without form. It is true that God can be worshipped without form, but for whom it is recommended, that we'll discuss later. Where are we? Depending on our position, we should accept that method, which is amenable to me, understandable by me, which is achievable by me. That is a different topic. First, we should have the question clear. That God, the question is, if God can be a mother, then how can He be a person without form? He says that same God without form, then that appears as God with form in a different mode when it is active, when it is doing the creation. There is three aspects: the creation, then it is development, and is dissolution. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. Creation, then development and dilution. Now when after Pralaya nothing exists, all forms merged into one being, that is formless, that is Brahman. The same Brahman after creation becomes this world, that is God with form. So creation is one. Depending on where we stand, we'll have to accept that form of God. So he says that till your mind is not able to comprehend that formless aspect of God, retain this form, stick to this idea that God is having form. This idea will be further elaborated in our next interaction.